We're about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, kids, it's Hump Day. How you doing? How was St. Patrick's Day for you, man? I tell you what, I had a hell of a St. Patrick's Day. I went out last night and I drove by a bar, and then I drove by another bar, and then I drove by another bar, and I went home, and I was in bed at 9:30. Yeah, I know. Woo! Yeah, that was fun. Welcome to the show. Please come inside. We've got a lot of stuff to get to on the radio program as the Democrat Party fights voter ID, which everybody supports. The country supports it by over 85% of the people support voter ID. The only people who don't support voter ID are the people in charge of the Democrat Party. That should be telling you something. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Here's a little montage of Democrats who they're going to lose this. They're going to lose this. They're losing on they're trying to tear down our troops with Operation Epic Fury. They were wrong about the southern border. They were wrong about Maduro and the drug boats. They were wrong about everything. I am so glad. I thank God that they could be so profoundly wrong about everything. They were wrong about Kamala Harris. They were wrong about, they didn't even correct things after they got their rear ends whooped by losing both houses of Congress, the Electoral College, and the popular vote. They didn't learn from it. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it's a gift from God. It's a gift from God. The Democrats haven't learned anything. And when it comes to voter ID, the reason why the Democrats can not change course, even though they're profoundly wrong on everything, is because they just expect Democrats to vote for whatever they decide they want to do, whether it's transgenderizing children or whatever, and then they rely on illegals to deliver the victory. You should know this, Democrats. They're not voting what you want. They don't vote what you want. That's why we have these things called 90-10 or 95-5 issues. These are issues that we all agree on, and yet 20% of the Democrat Party, all on Capitol Hill, and their cronies, their NGOs, and all of the people who get rich on your tax money, that's the 5. That's the 10, not you. Are you going to finally just wake the hell up and B-slap your party? Or maybe consider doing something else. I think maybe you should consider doing something else. Here's that little montage I promised, followed by the great Greg Gutfeld.
MAGA Republicans want to bog down the Senate over a debate on voter suppression. Democrats are ready.
Voter suppression. Yeah, it's voter suppression. Asking for an identification to prove your citizenship. And by the way, citizenship is needed to vote because it's a right of citizenship.
We're ready to be here all day, all night. The SAVE Act is not a voter ID bill.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is in every sense a voter suppression.
No, it's not. Do I say it again? No, it's not.
Bill. Our objection as Democrats is not to a photo.
Hey, we're wasting all this tax money on illegals. I mean, if we friggin', what are we paying for? If we're going to not allow them to vote, what the hell? I mean, honestly.
No ID, you'd have to define it clearly and properly and easily, but not to a photo ID when you show up to vote.
The United States Constitution also makes clear that only citizens can vote.
Well, the Constitution says these things. Well, certainly nobody would consider, breaking the law. Because the Constitution, are you out of your nut?
Ask our Republican colleagues, why aren't they focused on the Save America Money Act right now?
Oh, dear God. $787 billion infrastructure bullcrap with Barack Obama. No, none of the projects were shovel ready. $1.5 trillion green energy nonsense under Joe Biden. Has the climate gotten better? Did it do anything? No. And then, of course, all of the money for COVID, effectively raising the size of government by 40%. 40%. And how has life gotten better? The creation of the Department of Education 40 years ago, billions and billions and billions of dollars spent. Education has gotten worse. It's at the lowest point it's been in 50 years. Please.
If there was some kind of bizarre opportunity for Democrats where they could flip sides meaning that the Republicans would be against voter ID and they would be for it. They would switch in a heartbeat.
100%, you see, but Republicans, at least most of us, have souls and aren't intellectually and morally bankrupt, you see there, Greg.
If they could act, in fact, if Dems could snap their fingers and flip the side on every major issue, trans, crime, border, war, they would, because they're on the wrong side of everything. And it's really hard to get back over because that side's been taken.
Sounds like something I've been saying for a super long time there. But, you know, Greg, you're the man. Honestly, respect, Greg Gutfeld. We're on the same page, you see, because conservative comedy is ascending because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. The Democrat Party, you know, not only just the opposite tack of everything that Donald Trump does. Fortunately, Donald Trump is good. Fortunately, Donald Trump, cares about the country, cares about our military, wants to make America great. He even has this slogan. What the hell is it? It's hold on a second. It's make America great again is what it is. Make America great again. It isn't make America suck like the Democrats. They do. What would that be? Make America suck. Massa. It would be Massa would be that's racist. No, it's not. It's just M-A-S-A. It's just M-A-S-A. Pew Research poll, although the Democrats were the party of slavery, Pew Research poll, in August, tested a variety of election rules, found that 83% of U.S. adults support requiring all voters to show government-issued photo identification to vote, while 16% oppose it. That's up from 77% in the 2012 Pew poll. Support now includes 71% of self-identified Democrats. Now, they may identify as the other sex, weird stuff like that, but they identify as Democrats too. 83% of independents, 76% of black voters, but Democrats say that black people are too stupid to get an ID. That's your Democrat Party. It's your Democrat Party. I swear to God in heaven. It is. It's a gift from God. You got to look at it as a gift from God. You really have to look at it as a gift from God that they are this bloody clueless, this easily identifiable as being wrong on everything. We should be thankful. We should be thankful. Masa chips. Yeah, I've had those, by the way. They're fantastic. They're fried in beef tallow. Oh, my God. They're so good, Wild Bill, on Rumble, where we're streaming live. We got a new streaming program, and we are streaming like an 18-year-old man, 2 a.m. going to the bathroom. I mean, it is like there is no disruption to the stream, not like Joe Biden. No. We are streaming and dreaming, baby. Woo! Numbers today show that despite the relentless foaming at the mouth campaigns, Democrats are being crushed by 35 points on the issue of voter identification. Here's the Prezi talking about the SAVE Act.
The biggest thing coming up is the Save America Act in the Senate. That's voter ID and proof of citizenship.
Oh, I also forgot to mention that Democrats think women are stupid too. So there's that, and by the way, and also when they say that a woman can't, get an ID after she gets married, you know what they're saying? They're saying women can't survive without a man in their lives. That should make you feminist heads explode.
No mail-in ballots, corrupt mail-in ballots.
Yeah, you get rid of your husband, and what are you going to be? You're going to be like a turtle in the highway on its back. You women just cannot do nothing without a good man in your life.
The only country in the world that does it that way, corrupt as hell. And then we added 2 more. Don't
say that to the WNBA.
I think they're going to be adding a couple of more. One is no men
LPGA
in women's sports. That seems like an easy one.
That is a good one.
I believe that's 99%.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And no transgender mutilization of our children.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Mutilization. Okay, cool.
That's only polling at 98%.
Only 98%. But 100% of Democrats on Capitol Hill are perfectly down with your son having his twigs and berries cut off to become a girl.
Hopefully the Senate is going to be able to get that. You can't ask for 5 better things. I think.
No, you can't actually. And if anybody disagrees with it, to be quite honest, you're off your nut, to be quite honest. Here is a little bit of, I got to tell you, this is really funny. This is the Democrats absolutely stepping in it on the voter ID and who they're actually trying to protect. This is a Senator Merkley, should be with a J. But anyway, talking about the only people, by the way, who are going to be affected by requiring ID are people who vote Democrat. And you know what that means? That means that Democrats rely on illegals to vote. That's what he's saying.
This bill is about stopping groups from voting who tend to vote for Democrats.
Yes, and who are the only people in America who don't have ID. Okay, because women have ID, black people have ID, everybody has the ID. You got to have an ID to survive in America. Who are the only people in America who do not have a government issue legal ID and proof of citizenship? Illegals.
This is, again, about rigging the next election.
Oh, yeah, it was about rigging it. You see, we're preventing it from being rigged with all the illegals that you brought in by the tens of millions. And you load it up with free crap because they come from hellholes like Somalia. And then when you give them a lot of free crap or just allow them to steal everything, they will vote for you forever. You had a nice scheme going, Democrats, but unfortunately, the house of cards you built on sand is collapsing. This is the Rob Carson Show. Let's take a break and come back. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, we had a little issue here with the audio, Ken. I'm hearing the network feed in my ears. We're trying to start the break. So we're working out some bugs here, kids, because, we're starting a new stream today. We're streaming like a frat guy after playing a night of beer pong. Yeah, that's how well we're streaming. So we got to kind of figure out things, but we hope and pray that we'll be able to maintain the stream through the entire show without any issues at all. How's that sound? I think it sounds pretty good. Here is Chuck Schumer lying about the SAVE Act.
This is really one of the most pernicious pieces of legislation that I've ever seen.
No, not really at all. You're lying.
And they try to disguise it.
No, not at all. They're calling it the SAVE Act for voter ID.
Because they know how bad it is.
No, we think it's pretty awesome.
Put simply, the SAVE Act is designed to make it harder to vote
for illegals
and easier to steal an election.
Like you guys did in 2020 and 2022 and
MAGA Republicans would rather take down our democracy than back away from their own ideological policies that have killed jobs, started wars, exploited working people to benefit the
Yeah, you guys started a war with by allowing Russia to go into Ukraine and then giving them hundreds of millions of dollars to wage that war, hundreds of billions of dollars to wage. Honestly, you people are so stupid. No, not just stupid. You're just devious and awful. You're just Chuck Schumer is a gargoyle with osteoporosis. I mean, honestly, he's a gargoyle with osteoporosis. It's awful. Right now, they're debating the SAVE Act, and I'm just saying, Republicans, if you know what's good for you, you better get her done. You just better get her done. Here is Ted Cruz. I thought this was pretty great because the Democrats are always willing to say that like requiring voter ID and stuff is somehow a throwback to Jim Crow and slavery. Here's Ted Cruz finally acknowledging that those policies were Democrat.
The American people do not support voter ID. Mr. President, our Democrat colleagues are fond of bellowing into the TV cameras.
Yes.
That photo ID to vote is Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah. They tell us with mock earnestness.
Yeah.
Now, I will admit, our Democrat colleagues should be experts in Jim Crow.
You would think.
Because it was Democrat politicians who passed the Jim Crow laws.
That's true, yeah. And they also started the KKK. Yeah, the guy who started the KKK was Democrat.
It was Democrat politicians who founded the Ku Klux Klan.
No, that's way ahead of Ted there.
Democrat politicians for decade after decade who enforced discrimination, separate but equal.
Other than that, a great political party with a great tradition.
Poll taxes,
yes,
and a host of other laws designed to prevent African Americans from voting.
Don't worry, Hunter Biden. Poll tax has nothing to do with Nikki, your favorite girl down at Club Vogue.
But do you know who has rejected their disingenuous claim that photo ID to vote is Jim Crow?
Who's that?
The Supreme Court of the United States.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Supreme Court of the United States, the state of Indiana, passed photo ID law requiring that you show a photo ID to vote. A group of left-wing plaintiffs filed litigation challenging.
Has there been an exodus from the state of Indiana because black people and women can't vote? Nope, but there's been a whole lot of exodus from California for Democrat policies that absolutely suck and destroy the economy and everything. So there is that. Here's Harmeet Dillon. She was on with Bianca de la Garza on Newsmax. And here's what we're trying to get rid of, you see, because Democrats have allowed the stealing of elections and the fraudulence of our voting system to fester like a boil. And the SAVE Act is gonna lance that boil.
We've run some records for some states, so I think we've run something between.
Sorry about the visual. 50
and 60 million voter records so far, and during this president's tenure, and we have found hundreds of thousands of people who shouldn't be on the voter rolls, people who are dead.
Oh, you mean Democrat voters?
People who moved, duplicate registrations. We have also found separately non-citizens on the
Democrat voters
voter rolls, and so now we're doing our due diligence to identify the extent to which they may or may not have voted. And sometimes people are enrolled on the voter rolls. We've just seen some crazy videos from California, that show homeless people being used to sign petitions.
Oh, they've been doing that forever. When I was in Cincinnati 20 years ago, they were doing that.
And register to vote or sign.
They'd bust people into the polling locations, these homeless people, and load them up with cigarettes and bags of groceries and stuff like that.
Affidavits could sign ballots for somebody else and fill in. And that's easy when you have a system where there's no voter ID.
Right.
Yep.
Ballots are being mailed to outdated voting lists.
Yep.
This is not a fiction or a fantasy.
Well,
Los
no.
Angeles County in 2017 agreed with a lawsuit by Judicial Watch that there were over 1 million people in that county alone who should not have been on the voter rolls.
Yeah, there you go. That's how they've been able to do it. But here is Chuck Schumer the other day literally admitting that the SAVE Act is going to kick millions of illegals off the voter rolls because they're the only ones who don't have proof of citizenship.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. You recently responded to President Trump's Truth Social post regarding the Save America Act, saying that if he's going to not sign any bills until it's passed, the Senate's going to be in a total gridlock. Can you just explain, isn't this sort of a stab in the back to the American people who 85% of voters support voter ID?
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It allows ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls.
Now, how would ICE kick tens of millions of people off the voter rolls? By deporting them because they're illegal.
Off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore.
Yeah, because you were illegal. We booted you out of the country.
Or you're not registered here. You're not on the rolls.
Yeah, you can't vote from Nicaragua or China.
And they say, I didn't know that. This is a bill that destroys the country, and it is not
You guys are so desperate. They're the movie vampires dying and spiraling into hell.
showing ID when you show up to vote. It's about the voter registration rolls, destroying them, purging them.
Yeah, of the dead people and the illegal people and the people who aren't supposed to be on there.
Not letting people know and taking the rights.
I don't think you really need to tell the dead people that.
In a algorithm put together by ICE.
Drive by the cemetery. You can't vote anymore, Democrats.
Put together by Doge and Musk. It's an outrage. If a woman changes her name and you want to go first to go register again, once you're kicked off the rolls and you have no way of knowing, only 5% of people register.
You know what he's saying there? He's saying, women, you cannot survive without a man in your life. That's what your Democrat Party thinks about you. Yeah, I know. The Democrat parties are an insult to humanity, essentially. Yeah, essentially an insult to humanity in general. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution. So I'm getting the feedback. I know. Here we
go. Which is to say no to a bill that so fundamentally and far-reachingly would undermine, in fact, destroy our democracy. It may sound like an exaggeration, but it is the truth.
No. It may sound like an exaggeration, because it is. Dick, his name's Dick Blumenthal, by the way. Yeah, Dick Blumenthal. He says that requiring an ID would destroy. Let's hear that idiotic line again.
Destroy our democracy.
No, you know what would destroy our? We don't have a democracy. We're a representative republic. You moron. You're supposed to be a senator, for God's sake. You know what destroys the country? Opening the border for 4 years, allowing everybody in from every country in the world, not just, guys named Jesus coming across the southern border to work in farm fields and stuff, which we're grateful for, by the way. I mean, legal working folks from down south who want to, hang drywall. I've worked with them before, actually, and in fields. I've worked with them. I'm cool with that. I just have a real problem with the Chinese military-age males and Iranian terrorists sneaking in across the southern border, which you jackweeds allowed to happen. You guys allowed that to happen for 4 years. So you're the ones who tried to destroy the dang country. Here is Adam Schiff, one of the most despicable human beings, not just members of Congress, human beings to ever walk the face of the planet. He is a human Pez dispenser, and you would not want to eat the candy out of his neck because it would poison you to death. It would be like filled with fentanyl and stuff. Don't even know. But here he is. He's talking about precious America and how requiring voter ID to prove your citizenship when you vote, which you have to do because it's a right of a citizen, you see. So you got to be able to prove it with an identification. But he says it's going to destroy precious America.
Which brings me to the so-called Save America Act. This legislation will not save anything about America, but
except for the proper voter rolls and preserving the right to vote. See, I don't know if you know this. I'm a little mad because my vote was stolen, at least in 2020, and probably many other times since.
It'll destroy something precious about this country.
Oh.
It is not meant to empower people to determine the direction of the nation, but to deprive them of that power.
No, not at all.
Not to encourage citizen participation.
No, that's not at all. Not one little bit. No.
Government, but to discourage it.
No, you're wrong.
Not to heal a nation that is badly divided. But to
you guys did the dividing. You started calling us MAGA fascists and enemies of democracy and Nazis like 10 years ago.
Cause further division, disunion, and democratic decay.
Democratic decay. Oh my God. Woof. It is remarkable. They think they're going to win with that winning message. 83% of U.S. adults support requiring all voters to show government-issued photo identification to vote. These guys are at 17%, not even that, because you're going to have the percent of people who are not sure, the idiots who, watch daytime television, I guess, but maybe the Hallmark Channel. No idea. Don't even care. Play video games, all that. I don't care. But so you get those. Basically, you're looking at 5% of the population want no voter ID. And those would be Democrats in Washington, D.C., and the people who are enriched when they stay in power. Ta-da! That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Left wing. This is Tim Scott talking about John Ossoff is a member of Congress from Georgia. His dad was named Jack Ossoff. Did you know that? It was Jack Ossoff was his name. And Jack Ossoff no longer there, but John Ossoff is there. And John Ossoff did some sort of fundraiser or something. And you know what it took to get into that fundraiser? It took an ID. I know. It's crazy. Yeah, here is Tim Scott.
President Trump is 100% right. This is common sense. Why would you not have to show an ID to vote? Actually, in Georgia, at a John Ossoff rally.
Yep, Jack Ossoff is his dad.
You are required to have an ID to attend his rally.
Weird.
And yet, here's one Democrat who will not support an ID to vote. Every single Democrat should be lining up with every single Republican to do two things.
What?
Voter ID,
yes. Yep.
And Americans, only Americans, voting in American elections. John, this is common sense. This should not be hard at all.
Tell Jack Ossoff, too. You should tell him that voter ID, I know I'm a 14-year-old boy. I got to keep using that line. Because, here's the deal. The Democrats are saying Republicans want to steal the election. No, I would beg to differ that every ounce of evidence would show otherwise, because the Democrat Party doesn't represent the people at all. They don't have a platform. They don't have a belief system. It is only anti-Trump and staying in power no matter what. So there's really no evidence that they're putting forth any sort of agenda to vote on. Okay? Here's the great thing if we require voter ID. The people in power of the Democrat Party are going to have to start listening to their constituents and then building a platform based on the wants and desires of the Democrat voter, and not just people in Washington, D.C. who want to remain in power, enrich their friends, and spend our money to the tune of trillions of dollars. Stephen Miller was talking about this yesterday. Stephen Miller is a national treasure, by the way, but the Democrat Party hates him because he's so bloody effective. And I did this viral video a couple weeks ago. It went crazy because I kept hearing this, that we would not have a $38 trillion debt. Debt. It's not a deficit. It's a debt. That's what we owe. We would not if it weren't for the massive fraud. And here he is.
If all of it were stopped, it would be enough to balance the budget. The extraction of wealth from American taxpayers to people who don't belong here.
Yeah, and that's your Democrat Party paying illegals, paying NGOs, using Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, all of this to enrich their cronies, enrich their supporters, continue getting the votes from places like Little Somalia in Minneapolis or Los Angeles, where massive fraud is happening with the Armenian mafia involved in these hospice care agencies, all of these people. It's an organized crime family. Democrat Party is an organized crime family. They take your money, they loot it, they give it out to their friends. Their friends give them a little back, a little protection. They give them a little protection money because, we got to get reelected here. So, I'm going to give you a little this, you give me a little that. You load up the voter rolls with a bunch of illegals, dead people, capiche? That's your Democrat Party.
Is the primary cause of the national debt, and this is the first ever effort to shut that down. Thank you.
Yeah, it's about damn time, honestly. And I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. It was kind of interesting. I was doing a little flashback because I saved my audio, and I have a pretty gosh darn good memory. I may forget your name like 2 minutes after I meet you, but I remember other stuff. Like, for instance, the election night in 2020. I know I shouldn't say this because it's disinformation, but I'm thinking requiring voter ID is a whole lot less steely than this.
A water pipe has broken in State Farm Arena. State Farm Arena is where they were counting the absentee ballots of Georgia.
There was no broken water pipe. It never happened. It was a lie.
Most populous county, and now the tabulation has stopped.
It's Allegheny, which is Pittsburgh, but also Beaver, part of our county to county, Butler and Westmoreland. They've all
Beaver stopped counting.
Stopped counting for the night. They've gone to bed.
Never stopped counting in my life.
They begin the process at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Good morning, Heather. They did have to press pause overnight. They will be back in a few short hours.
It's so weird that in 2020, all these battleground states where the election was decided, just stopped counting votes for the first time in history. Other than that, this happens all the time.
Expected to resume counting around 8:30 this morning.
Fulton County is now going to stop counting at 10:30 p.m.
That's Fox News. They lost their journalistic curiosity after that night.
And will resume their count at tomorrow morning.
They basically stopped counting tonight. They're going to start counting again in a few hours. It's already tomorrow morning, right?
The election.
Man, I got to tell you, that must have been one hell of a busted water pipe because it flooded all of the battleground states. That's a lot of water.
Workers stopped counting those mail-in ballots at 10 o'clock. They will be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m.
And Nevada says it stopped counting the votes yesterday.
You got water all the way down in Nevada from a busted water pipe in Georgia. That is just crazy. You know what? I'm not stupid. So there you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Are you?
the Rob Carson Show. And it is already Wednesday, day after St. Paddy's Day. Welcome back. We are proud to announce that, and I don't want to speak too soonly, but the stream, we had some streaming issues the last few weeks. And I know that many of you, particularly the ladies, like to watch me on the stream. And you, Ayatollahs, you gay Ayatollahs, you probably like watching me too. But anyway, we have some different streaming software, so we're gonna work the bugs out there, and in the meantime, we're gonna entertain the hell out of you. How's that sound? I think it sounds pretty amazing, don't you? My gosh in heaven, sounds so amazing. John Solomon has done some great reporting. He found out that China was very involved in trying to throw the elections in our country, and that's kind of weird because, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden and his family got $35 billion from China through, I think, 27 LLCs and 9 family members. And then China in 2020 unleashed a virus on the earth, which destroyed our country and our economy and our schools and ushered in a new era of mail-in balloting. And we never held China accountable for it. And Joe Biden's Penn Biden Center got $160 million from I'm just kind of connecting some random thoughts here. There's probably no connection at all. But somebody, China was in somebody's pants. And Joe Biden's pants. We'll get to that in 1 second with John Solomon. Gold is down to 4,900-ish. 4,900-ish today. It's asking you to buy it, because the price of gold has been growing through the ceiling. It took a little break because it went up to, I told you this, $5,600 in January, and then people sold it off, and and now it's coming back. Okay, so it's coming back. I got my gold. I had some gold previously, and then I got some more when I traded in this IRA, 401k, I should say, from my selling cars, and I got in about $4,600, which is amazing because now it's at almost $5,000. It's holding steady the last 2 weeks, and what it's doing is it's asking you to consider it. It's kind of like the siren, luring you onto the golden rocks, as it were. All you got to do to get involved with the gold, get yourself some gold, is go to Birch Gold. Okay, Birch Gold, that's the company I choose. They got my money. Doesn't get any better as an endorsement than a host that says, oh, yeah, they got my money. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. They will send you information. They will not oblige you to buy anything. They will not ask you to pull the trigger until you know you're ready to go. But you can find out a whole lot more, and they're a great company with a 5-star rating from the BBB and of course, my money as well. Text Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. Here is John Solomon this week.
And today we have a bombshell, something that has been kept from you for nearly 6 years. In as early as February of 2020, yes, the United States intelligence community determined that China had breached U.S. voter registration data, had gained access to the data that voters use to.
This is the summer before the summer of 2020 when all the madness happened and Black Lives Matter and this country burned, and they tried to make it sound like it was 1968 all over again, and it wasn't at all, because a guy who died of a drug overdose in Minneapolis, was suddenly a hero and all of that, and then of course the virus, the COVID virus created by China. Isn't it kind of weird? Isn't it kind of strange that this would happen too?
Registered to vote.
It's like they almost wanted Joe Biden to win or something.
2020 election. Now remember, we've been told time and time again there were no foreign interferences in the 2020 election.
Sure.
But the U.S.
because it's disinformation to think otherwise.
Intelligence community absolutely concluded that China had done this. They had several reports involving several states.
This is confirmed. It's not just John Solomon, just the news. It's our intelligence services admitting this happened.
Now, we don't know this yet, because anyone in the Trump administration has declassified that information. They may soon do so. We've asked them to, and I believe they're honestly working on it.
Yes.
We know this because we were able to get a document that was declassified by the Biden administration that referred to these findings in April of 2020. It is a National Intelligence Council memo.
Now, it's weird because China did this in Europe, too.
People are very nervous on the Republican and the Democratic side. And I think the reason why is that when we had similar revelations in 2024 in Great Britain, that Great Britain's voter registration databases had been hacked by China, it created a national scandal, an outrage There were special blue ribbon commissions. There were serious matters. The United States has known of similar problems of China infiltrations of our voter data going back to 2020, and they've done nothing about it.
It's kind of weird. Also, a lot of the voting machines were made in Venezuela. Of all the places to have stuff built in Venezuela with Maduro in charge, a communist, and then the communist Chinese being involved in the voter rolls and sending all sorts of Chinese military-age males over the border in 2020. All of that kind of weird. It's like almost the Democrat Party was working together with China. Yeah, they were. Pretty much, yeah. Bought and sold. Joe Biden was bought and sold. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys, it's Carson from Birch Gold. Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces.
Talking to streamers?
At today's prices,
What, Brian?
33 ounces of gold.
Talking to streamers?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was talking to the streamers. Hold on. Hello, streamers. Can you believe how strong the stream is today? My God in heaven, it's amazing. Hello, Adam Pearson. You're new. You're new on the YouTubeage. And Jamie Billett, what's going on? And Sabrina G. Good to see you guys. I'm just damn proud and happy that the stream is working today because, it's been kind of a mother bleeper. To be quite honest, it's been terrible. Rumbly Roo, Grimud, hello, Sport Tech, hello, BFO5, what up? R. DeSanti, Wild Bill West, you've been active today, Wild Bill. You're paying attention, man. You're paying attention over there, Gary Madden, Valentina, all you guys over on the Facebook. Who we got here? We got Kathy and Prane, Uperchat, and Kurt. Kurt, good to see you there. Chris Schwab and Jellyfish Hunter. Yeah, it's last couple of weeks have been very rough. And so I'm glad to see it. It appears that that the stream is working better. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'm glad to have you. Prani says, hi, Rob, missed you yesterday. Well, Prani, I missed you too, girl. Missed all of you guys. All right. Prani watches in California, by the way. Watches in Alhambra, California. Hello. All right, it's time for me to be funny. I think it's been a pretty informative show today, too, right? Been pretty damn good. Here we go.
Have a 350. Got an engine for you.
Yep. This is not an EV. And it never will be. That's Godsmack, by the way. It's one of the amazing bands. That's what maybe the left is experiencing right now. A Godsmack. God taking his hand and going, bam! You idiots. You guys were been terrible and evil for a very long time. That's what I guess November of 2024 was. I told you it's the reaction to the action of evil, and clearly the Democrat Party sided with evil, and they're siding with evil right now. They're trying to convince you that voter ID is bad, even though 83 or 85% of us believe it's perfectly fine, and we want it because we don't like our vote stolen. Because I hate to tell you this, a lot of us think that the vote is so sacred. It is bloody sacred. I took my kids every time to vote growing up. Every time since the day they were born, I took them to vote. My son, the first time he voted, he was dropped off at a community college, and he walked a mile in the rain to vote. He walked a mile in the rain to vote when he was 18 years old. It's important. I want to do a little flashback here. I thought it was kind of fun. Remember I was talking about 2020 and how things just went nuts, and you couldn't talk about the election, the day after the election. You couldn't talk about January the 6th. You couldn't talk about, COVID protocols and all that bull crap. And I came up with an expression called don't catch the stupid. I said that if you believe that wearing a paper mask will provide you protection from the deadliest virus ever, then you must have caught another virus called the stupid. All right. If you believe standing 6 feet away from somebody will prevent you from getting the virus, but standing 4 feet will kill you, you caught the stupid. And so I did this song to go around censorship. I did this to go around censorship that was happening. I was able to get a message across that would have otherwise been banned on all social media with this.
Arizona and Corona, all the lies about them they've been telling you.
This is Jim Gossett.
How did they win it? The freaking Senate, when the votes that they received were very few. Don't catch the stupid, don't buy their BS. That climate change is real, inflation's not. Don't catch the stupid.
Yeah.
Don't believe them.
No.
Because distraction and diversion's all they got. We all know that Hurricane Ian was the result of global warming. Russian collusion led to confusion.
They lied.
January 6th is a smokescreen.
They lied.
The new Green Deal is a disguise steal. Like their mandate forcing you to take vaccine.
You can't say that.
Don't catch the stupid. You just can't do it. That in women's sports, men should compete.
Disinformation.
They're teaching sex ed in kindergarten. They're destructive policies we must defeat. Like wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Statues have fallen. It's so appalling to ignore Hunter's laptop and his theft.
That's a disinformation.
Don't catch the stupid, reject their nonsense. Everything is stupid on the left.
This is why I say conservative comedy is ascending, because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. Help out Jim Gossett. Go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, Virginia. David Williams joins us next hour. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Breaking news here.
headlines from the WCBM Maryland News Center. A judge in Anne Arundel County.
Now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. And we got a lot of stuff. David Williams is going to be joining us, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate in the state of Virginia. I live in Virginia. Woo! That's great. For the first time since I was, much younger, I'm a Virginian again. I'm a Virginian again. There you go. I'm a virgin. Virginian. I think I actually may have I think after so many years, don't you kind of get your virginity back? I think I got it back. I think it's back. It's back with a revenge. Anyway, looking at some nice notes from people. Here's one. This is from A on social media. My contractor, his 2 sons and a fella all love listening to you. They were listening to sports radio when they got here last December. They've been converted. They keep saying they're glad the station WCBM in Baltimore finally found someone who could fill Rush Limbaugh's shoes. Quite a compliment. Yeah. Just a little bit. Thank you very much. I mean, that was like, dang, that kind of blew me away. Listen, I like to say that I walk in Rush's footsteps, but no one will fill his shoes. And I did help fill his show with comedy for a number of years. I did it for many years. I was very proud to be able to do that. Starting as a kid right out of college, I heard about this guy named Rush Limbaugh. It was 1989. I know, I'm old, whatever. 1989, and I was making $18,000 a year living in Columbia, Missouri. as a morning music radio jock, and I was writing comedy for these things, these comedy networks around the country, because most morning radio people in general don't write their own comedy. Same way with people like Jimmy Kimmel and whatnot. So I started writing comedy, and then I heard about this guy named Rush Limbaugh, and a friend of mine worked for Rush Limbaugh, and I said, "You suppose this Rush Limbaugh guy would run my comedy?" That was what my voice sounded like back then. He goes, "I don't know, man." He got me in touch with Kit Carson and Johnny Donovan, and the rest is history. And so, we were able to create something unique. I like to say uniquely entertaining on the Rush Limbaugh program. And of course, Rush changed everything. There's a reason why we're where we are with Donald Trump, with the media now. We have conservative talk radio that just exploded across the country. We've got conservative media outlets like Newsmax, which I work at. Before that, it was just the letter networks, and hell, even 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it was all still left. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, PBS, NPR, all liberal. And Rush Limbaugh changed everything, man. He changed everything. So the left can't get away with the bullcrap that they used to be quite honest. It's remarkable, and it's by the way, it's still evolving. I mean, look at this right here. Look at this guy right here. I'm in a box that I built myself. I engineered all of this. I added the wiring, and I added the microphone and the camera and the background and all of this. I did it myself. I started doing this 10 years ago myself. And now it's evolved, and I have a nationally syndicated television show and a national syndicated radio show. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. We live in amazing times. So Elon Musk talking about how they may have figured out blindness. He's saying within a year, the blind will be able to see. This is pretty remarkable. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Elon Musk. I want you to listen to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a genius. Elon Musk saved speech, by the way. He bought Twitter when it was being run by the FBI. The chief counsel for the FBI left the FBI in 2018, went to Twitter in 2020 or to 2018, and then they censored all of our speech. And they censored all of our speech. They tried to come up with this disinformation governance board, just like Stalin did, and all of this. And Elon Musk saved it. I want you to listen to Elon Musk, though, about blindness, the possibility.
You would have and to see in multispectral wavelength. You could see an infrared, ultraviolet, radar. It's like a superpower situation.
Whoa. You could see like in the infrared, like the Terminator. I mean, this is amazing. We live in amazing times. One of the things my mother, I don't know. I've never lost my sense of wonder. I've always been the person who stops and picks up a penny. I've always noticed the bird, what kind of bird it is. I always feed the birds in the morning and in my parking garage, which they hate. They're really pissed. They hate that I'm feeding the birds. But I've never lost that sense of wonder. I've never stopped going, wow. When I get in my truck and I drive, with this big screen that shows the, where I'm driving, what I'm listening to, and all of this, never lose your sense of wonder. And it's only getting bigger. It's only getting better. We're learning exponentially right now, and there's a real possibility of infinite knowledge coming, which is quantum computing, which is like meeting God. And there's going to be a day very, very, very soon, these AI data centers and everything, there's going to be a day very soon where we're going to have quantum computing, and you type in the data about how to cure cancer. And instead of the little circle going beep, 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 and waiting for it, it'll just go, here. There it is. Okay, maybe we go to how to travel at close to the speed of light. There it is. God. Woo. I'm just going to say, sorry, I hate to be, waxing philosophical, but we do live in amazing times. Don't let the noise get you down. We live in amazing times. I hope that cancer thing comes fast. Seen too many go that way. All right. Let's move on here. The latest from Iran. We are kicking butt and taking names in Iran, and most of those names just happen to be Mohammed. Here is Trey Yingst. Trey Yingst talking about the latest Iranian leaders. We're getting down to like nobody. There's nobody wanting to lead anymore. You got all sorts of people saying, I'm not going to show up for work, IRCG members, and you've got orders coming from nobody because everybody's dead. But here's Trey Yingst.
A senior Israeli official telling Fox News that Ismail Khatib, Iran's intelligence minister, was killed in a precision strike overnight. Khatib was responsible for managing Iran's global cells, these sleeper cells in countries around the world. That's
kind of big news. Did CNN talk about that today? Did MS Now talk about that today? Hold on a second. Did you hear what he just said? Because we were just talking about these sleeper cells that have been awakened all over the place in 4 terrorist attacks in the United States, all tied to radical Islam. And they got the guy who was doing all that.
Strike overnight. Khatib was responsible for managing Iran's global cells, these sleeper cells in countries around the world that even threatened U.S. politicians and President Trump. This official says this man had blood on his hands, American blood. They go on to say that Khatib was actually the only person to survive.
Yeah, but Joe Kent said that he was not a threat and Iran was not a threat. What are you talking about?
Survived the opening round of strikes in Operation Epic Fury that killed Iran's supreme leader. Those 40 officials killed in around 40 seconds.
You know why they call it Operation Epic Fury? It's because it's epic and it makes the Democrats and the left furious. Copyright Rob Carson 2026. Victor Davis Hanson is brilliant. Victor Davis Hanson's dealing with cancer right now. He's beat it back. He had half of a lung removed, by the way. This man is a sage of the ages. He's an amazing man. And here he is talking about one of the most wildly successful military campaigns in U.S. and world history, and why the left and Democrats hate it.
We're in the second week of the so-called Iran war. That's a very surreal war. I don't think any of us have seen anything.
Yeah, 2 weeks into it.
Like it. It's only been 2 weeks. And
like December 7th, 1941 and December 27th, or like 20th, 1941, and the Democrats already saying we lost.
We're told that it's dragging on, that it's a forever war, that we're losing, that the Pentagon and the Trump administration had no plans. And yet, when you look at Iran, this huge country, much, much bigger, much, much more populous than
100 million people in Iran, like third most powerful air force in the world.
Iraq or Afghanistan, and it has no military.
Yeah, we blew the snot out of them in 2 weeks.
And yet people say that it's unconquerable. It doesn't make any sense.
We already
it's output of missiles and drones at the Gulf petrol states, and Israel has dropped by 90%.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What is actually happening is not being reported, and there's an alternate reality that's been constructed by the left that sees this war as politically advantageous to its agenda to recapture power in the United States.
Yes.
It convinces us, the American people, that A, we're losing, B, we may deserve to lose, C, it's all Donald Trump's fault, and this war will be beneficial in denying him the Republican majorities in Congress in about 8 months.
And who has been saying that? I'm pointing my thumbs at me right now, actually. We just got to not pay attention to the noise, support our troops, because they're kicking some serious Iranian mullah butt.
Another supreme leader was taken out today.
Jim Gossett.
The Israeli Air Force always gets their way. We keep losing more men. Our losses are insane. We would surrender if we had half a brain.
But they don't. Now he only has half a brain, actually.
Another one bites the dust.
Cardboard Ayatollah. That's him, actually.
Another one bites the dust. And another one's gone, and another one's gone. Another one bites the dust.
A lot of dust over there.
Soon, there will be no one left. Another one bites the dust. Ali Laranjani is with us no more.
Nope.
He just bit the dust like Khomeini before. Our Navy has been destroyed. Our Army will be too.
Yeah.
We face obliteration. But what else is new? Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
Biting dust there.
And another one's gone, and another one's gone. Another one bites the dust. We are dropping just like flies. I'm about to bite the dust.
That is Tim Gossett. I got to tell you, sometimes he just blows me away. I'm working with him. I'm doing a gay Ayatollah song. That should be done by tomorrow, the new gay Ayatollah song. I won't give you any details on that. But apparently the Ayatollah's son is kind of gay. Of all things, right? Of all things. They thrown off a building, but there are no buildings standing. Anyway, we got more on this. And on the other side, a piece from the Washington Examiner by Christopher Tomugli about data that the Democrats and legacy media have been intentionally lying about the Operation Epic Fury to make it look like we're losing. It's legit. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
The Kim Klacik Show, 9 to noon on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
Gonna rejoin.
Sing it with me.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. How. How? Well, B-2s. Let's see what else. F-22s. Tomahawk cruise missiles. That's how. I love it. New report on Iran shows shows Democrats and legacy media have been lying about U.S. progress. This is according to Washington Examiner Christopher Tremogli. Manipulated stories, omitted facts, contrived narratives advance daily in attempt to persuade the public that the Iran war is going poorly. Sickening. It's freaking it's Soviet propaganda. This dishonesty reinforces Trump's previous claims that the legacy media are the enemy of the people. New analysis by the Institute for the Study of War says that the trajectory of the war relatively positive, highlighting the numerous successful military accomplishments of the last 2 weeks. Also the body count, us versus them. The United States is steadily destroying Iran's ability to use its most essential tool in the war, drone and missile attacks, which in turn underpin the entire Iranian strategy. So the constant misinterpretation of facts, fake, hyperbolic, outrage, baseless accusations by Democrats and legacy media about the Trump administration's war strategy is another thing altogether, like when Chris Murphy, on day one after we vaporized the Ayatollah, said it was disastrous. You ass. You pathetic. Oh, and then Paul Begala. The PDAC said they're spending $20 million on lobster and steak. Not realizing it's an age-long tradition for the troops in harm's way to enjoy occasionally trappings they otherwise wouldn't when they eat MREs. You jackweed. And notice Begala's not been on TV this week. I'd be ashamed to show my face. You got to have shame, though, and generally people like he don't. They seek to brainwash Americans to influence public opinion against Trump. In many instances, they come off if they're rooting for the U.S. to lose the war. And they are rooting for the U.S. to lose the war. Here is Senator Tim Sheehy talking about Democrats rooting for us to lose the war. And they are. They did the same damn thing in Iraq. That's why Rush Limbaugh called Dick Durbin Dick Turban. Because they said, like right after we invaded Iraq, that the war is lost, we've lost. Because they recognized, and when after 9/11, when George W. Bush went from bumbling, fumbling, a punchline into a leader standing on a pile of rubble with a bullhorn, and the Democrat Party recognized then, oh crap, he's going to have the side of the public on his, and then they immediately started disparaging our troops. That's how sick this party is.
I think it's pretty disappointing to see not just the media rhetoric, but also from our Democrat counterparts on the other side of the aisle who on Capitol Hill every day seem to be rooting for failure here, rooting for failure against a regime that has been murdering Americans for 47 years. Iran started this war and Trump's going to finish it. 3 generations of Americans have been fighting this terror threat, these savage barbarians, and he's not going to kick that can to a 4th generation. This campaign is 2 weeks old. We've seen unprecedented success across the board, obliterating Iranian's navy, took out their nuclear weapons last summer, and of course we're debilitating the regime piece by piece. It's going very well. We're 2 weeks in. We've probably got a few weeks to go, but this is a righteous act, and it's overdue.
Chris Murphy on Saturday, Murphy claimed that Trump lost control of the war. He badly misjudged Iran's ability to retaliate. Now we frickin' destroyed the crap out of them. We made scuba diving destinations out of their navy, you jackweed. Then provided a thread of more baseless and embellished narratives to justify his misinterpretation and false claims, among other things. The Institute, there was no blunder, as Murphy claimed. It was an example of how Democrats are trying to distort reality for political gain. Iran's attacks have not yet affected U.S. military operations and fallen short of Iran's hopes for attacks with thousands of missiles and drones. However, the Institutes for the of War said the available evidence supports the assessment that the combined campaign is achieving its military objectives thus far and is not yet complete. Declaring the campaign a failure at this stage is therefore premature and traitorous, I would mention as well. Traitorous as hell. Traitorous as hell. Here's Rob Schmidt. He's awesome. He's on every night on Newsmax with some brilliant commentary.
So you can oppose the operation and now 2-week war with Iran, But you do lose credibility when you claim that Iran was...
It would be like, okay, 2 weeks after December 7th, on December 21st, 1941, the media and the Democrat Party saying, we had already lost. Exactly like that.
No threat, and Trump is controlled by Israel. As we showed you last night, Trump's been talking about the need to dismantle this regime since I was a toddler.
That's true.
Iran's plan was
Yes.
very clear. The regime was rapidly building up a massive contingent of ballistic missiles, thousands of them, and they were doing this very quickly. So eventually, nobody would be able to decapitate their nuclear program like we just did.
We did.
They were going to be able to defend it
Decapitated it, circumcised it, whatever.
vastly with a lot of power. Over the past 2 weeks, we've mowed the lawn down so low that CENTCOM believes that Iran will not be a threat for perhaps 10 years. Trump wants to completely neuter Iran, but also says we'll be out of Iran soon. So nobody really knows where he's going in this moment. If we're just mowing the lawn nice and low and buying several years, maybe 10 years, or if we're smothering it in glyphosate. Regardless,
That's like Roundup, by the way. Just round up the hell out of it. Yeah. I'm hoping that Israel is working with Pahlavi to usher in a new era of freedom in Iran, and that the Iranian people kill every one of the bastards who've been running that country for the last 47 years. 100% throw them in jail or rid the country of them, and we should all be joyful for the freedom of the Iranians and the Persian people. They're not all Persians. There's Kurds and there's other people in there, and the rise of Christianity and Judaism and all of that in Iran. These are historic times, and only the Democrat Party and the left would cast aspersions on it. They would have mourned Hitler killing himself and his girlfriend and would have demanded that the Berlin Wall be rebuilt. That's your Democrat Party for you, kids. Coming up next, David Williams, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, great state of Virginia. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases. Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed. Hey guys, it's Carson.
Rifle, you can keep it. If you have an assault pistol, if you want to have one of these pistols with a silencer on it and a pistol grip in the front, a really big pistol, if you want to have one with a telescope on it or lasers or whatever else you want, that's okay. You just can't buy a new one, and you can't sell it to anybody. If you want to have a magazine with more than 15 bullets, you can keep that too.
Okay, the Virginia House of Delegates is now essentially a child care facility. My God in heaven. That is Scott Suravel. He was a Democrat, and they're trying to restrict gun ownership in the state of Virginia, and they don't know anything about it. He's talking about, hey, if you want a gun and you already got a laser and, one of them demon marker fires or whatever, you can go ahead and keep that. You just can't buy a new one, because he knows not what he speaks, and there are a bunch of stupid academics who know nothing, and they have seized power in the great state of Virginia, and by God, something better be done about it, because I live in Virginia now. And by the way, I'm sorry for moving here and causing the property values to decrease slightly. However, there is a man who's running for senator in the state of Virginia. His name is David Williams, and I think he's going to make it great. Again, thank you very much, David Williams. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Rob. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm really kind of mad that we have a governor in the state of Virginia who lied about what she was and who she was, a Democrat Party who lied about its platform when it was leaning into communism and Marxism, and then just decided to change things when they got there. That's not the way to run an election. That is fraudulent. So I don't consider her administration to be legitimate, to be quite honest. But what are your thoughts on that? And by the way, and also there was a special election in Virginia, HD 98, Republican Andrew Rice was ahead by 29 in the district, a 22-point swing toward the GOP. Do you suppose Virginians already recognize that they've been lied to?
Yeah, Rob, you're exactly right. It's a classic bait and switch, and they came in on affordability and moderation, and we saw none of that, or we're seeing none of that. And so the good thing about this is the Republican Party and folks are really starting to wake up. I think we were asleep at the wheel for a bit there, and we let them get in. And so now people are waking up, they're getting off the sofas, they are starting to get active once again. And I'm traveling all around Virginia, people, talking to people on the consequences of not getting out and voting.
Yep.
And so now we're seeing that turn back in our favor.
Well, David Williams, the people of Virginia are not like this. The people of Virginia outside of Fairfax and Loudoun County are not like this. They are proud of the heritage of the state. They are proud of the history of the state and what it meant for the survival and creation of the United States of America. I mean, and I got to tell you, I'm from Iowa. And when I moved here, I mean, I'm walking, down the streets of Old Town Alexandria. They still got, streets named after Lee and Columbus and Jefferson. They haven't, decided to trash that. But just because some liberal academics in Fairfax and Loudoun County and government employees who were losing their jobs in January decided to do this. So I would imagine that the people in Virginia and the hinterlands where you're out there, people who love America, are like, we are not going to live like this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing all across Virginia. And so what happened? You have to go back. Did not get out to vote in the last election, and Winston tried to warn us about what was to come. And like I said, I think we got a little too comfortable. We didn't expect this, and so what I've been telling the party, one, is that we have to unify. We have to come together. Mm-hmm. The way that we fight back is through elections. And once you're tired enough of not being heard and not feeling like your vote counts, then that's when people start to get interested back into politics. And so what you're seeing now, Rob, is just not just our party, but even those independents that don't buy into all of this gerrymandering, that see their taxes go up, and then the companies leaving because said taxes are going up, and their Second Amendment being encroached upon, and so you're starting to see this groundswell of individuals that are tired of, like I said, just politicians just not being honest and lying to them, and especially with Bamberger coming in. And so we're really trying to get people back active and make sure that they get out and they're voting.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm embarrassed that Mark Warner and Tim Kaine are the senators from the state. I mean, honestly, they are two of the biggest buffoons right now. And I met Mark Warner years ago when I lived in Washington, D.C. before I moved to Kansas City. And he's just off the rail. They're both just off the rails. They are completely down with all of the nonsense of the Democrat Party. And one thought here, David, because, right now 83% of us want voter ID, 70% of Democrats. 100% of Democrats in Washington, D.C. don't want voter ID. If I was a Democrat, I would be a little upset that you have zero representation whatsoever on issues like this, transgender nonsense at schools. 100% of Democrats in D.C. versus 90% of other Democrats. I would be really angry as a Democrat particularly.
And that's what I'm saying. The people are starting to wake up, and they're starting to see what the party is doing, the Democratic Party. They're just moving so far to the left that they're not even listening to even their constituents. And so what you're seeing, case in point, them shutting down the government. We got a partial shutdown, DHS, while we're in conflict with Iran. So we've been attacked 4 times by homegrown, attackers, and yet DHS is not being funded. We have our CSA. We hear that they're in food lines because they can't get food.
Yeah.
And yet the constituents, Mark Warner's constituents, are federal employees that are getting furloughed because of that. And tell your listeners, do the research.
Yep.
Mark Warner voted more than 13 times to close the government during the historic government shutdown.
Yep, 100%.
And people don't do the research. They don't know because all they do is just say, so it's the Republicans, But Starting to wake up.
Hey, David,
Starting to get frustrated about it.
can we take a break here? Your phone is kind of weird right now. I don't know what the deal is. We're having a little bit of trouble. You kind of fade out and you fade back in. I would like to continue the conversation. Can you address those issues and we talk on the other side of the break?
Sure can. All right, I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, man. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
At the top of every hour. Then talk about it. Wouldn't you like a little excitement for a change? Talk Radio 680 WCBM and WCBM.com.
David Williams is Senate candidate for the great state of Virginia, where I live right now. I did mention the other day, or I saw the other day, that a group of pro-Second Amendment activists handed out free 30-round AR-15 magazines outside the Virginia State Capitol the other day to challenge a pending legislation to ban such magazines. I thought that was just brilliant. David Williams, did you see that? I thought that was it really had the Democrats' panties in a bunch, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, I was out there and really got a chance to see to the great folks of Virginia that's not going to take this sitting down. And like I was saying earlier, people are starting to wake up and starting to mobilize. And so hopefully we just continue to do so.
Now, what are your primary issues as a senator? How do you want to turn back the legacy of the two present Democrat senators in the state of Virginia?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been traveling around Virginia and just really trying to listen to the problems and the issues that Virginians are having. And of course, you know, one is what they call affordability, but what I call is just outside spending, you know, and so we have to cut the out of control spending and get the tax relief back to those working class families and small businesses, and work with, you know, President Trump is looking to bring down the income tax. So those are things that will help put more money in people's pockets.
Yeah.
But what the Democrats want to do is, of course, raise those taxes.
Yeah.
And for what? There's a surplus. You know, Youngkin left us with a surplus.
Yeah, I know.
But yet they're still trying to raise taxes.
Yeah, they want to raise taxes 75 times, and one of them is that they want to get rid of gas leaf blowers, which is stupid because they mean nothing in the grand scheme of the planet. Dear God in heaven, it's a fart in an F5 hurricane is what it is. With that said, they want to do that, and then when you get an electric leaf blower, they're mandating they're going to tax that. They're going to tax your. They want to tax fantasy football, which means you're just going to play fantasy football underground. You aren't going to go online and play fantasy football and report it to the government. It's just stupid. It's just the dumbest damn thing. Honestly, don't you see that this could cause an exodus from Virginia like it's happened in California, it's happening in New Jersey and New York, do you suppose? Boeing's already left.
It already has.
Yeah.
You have companies that are already planning to leave. We've seen some already leave. And so what they're trying to do is duplicate what they're doing in California, and we see how that works, right? And so I don't understand why they're raising taxes. They haven't even explained what the purpose is. And so, like I said, the key is to educate, get people out there, get people motivated again and active, because if not, you got to get the guy that's on his sofa and you know, the ones that are at the water cooler, and let them know what's going on, because half the people don't even realize that this is going on. They don't realize that gerrymandering is going to make it 10-1.
Well, here's what it is. Can I explain it to you, David Williams? Here's why they want to raise taxes. Are you ready? You know, because also one of the things that they want to do is they want to make sure that government, NGOs and whatnot who get our tax money are not investigated for fraud. So what they're going to do is they're going to raise taxes and they're going to enrich their friends, just like they did with COVID on the national level, increase the size of the federal government by 40%, and then look at all the fraud we're uncovering. They want to do that in Virginia. That's what it's all about, David Williams.
Yeah, and so the people that I'm talking with, like I said, the Republican Party, they understand that this cannot happen. And that was one of the biggest reasons that I jumped into this race, is because I started seeing all this crazy, our country moving further and further to the left, and it felt like we weren't being heard. And so I'm hopeful that the people of Virginia will step up this election, and you know, this is the time. This is a referendum for what's going on right now.
Yeah, man.
And vote Mark Warner out.
We have
to do that, and then we have to win elections, right?
Yes, sir.
The Republican Party, we have to win elections, and that's how we fight.
All right.
Fight back.
Well, David, I appreciate your time today, man. David Williams, you were on Twitter at Williams4VA. Check out that. Where else can people find you? Help you out, my friend.
All right. They can go to David Williams 4VA. That's David Williams FORVA.com and check us out there, and let's work together, team up, and let's get Mark Warner out there. Let's retire him finally.
Hell yeah. I
Take
love
care,
it.
Take care, my friend. Thank you.
Yep, we'll talk again soon, sure. David Williams. All right, cool. It seems like a nice enough guy. We'll see. I need to know more about him before I'm willing to give my full-throated endorsement. But he's certainly a hell of a lot better than Mark Warner. My God, what a turd burglar he is. My God, if that's the word I'm going to use. Yeah, he's a turd burglar. All right. We need to talk about Joe Kent, don't we? Joe Kent, yesterday, he wrote a resignation letter stepping down as the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, saying he cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran after 2 weeks. What a profound disappointment he is. I mean, nothing against his service, but seriously. In announcing his resignation, Kent added that Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation and that the war was started due to the pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Clearly a big viewer of Candace Owens. Loves him some Candace Owens, I'm guessing, because honestly, he pulled that out of his rear end, to be quite honest. Even old Chris Cuomo. Let me find this soundbite from Chris Cuomo about Joe Kent. I've got one. Chris Cuomo went off. He's like, "You're kidding me?" Yeah. Joe Kent. Good. No, that's not it. That's not what I'm looking for. I'll find it. But even old Chris Cuomo said, "Are you kidding me? There's no way that that we did not know that the Iranians posed a major threat to us." Dan Bongino was on last night on Fox talking about this, about Joe Kent being clueless. Actually, I'm going to have to share that on the other side of the break. Otherwise, I'm going to go a little bit long, and I don't want to do that. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hi, streamers. Yeah, I like the Williams guy. He talked a little like in bumper stickers. That was the only thing. A little bit sounded like bumper stickers. I need more than talking points. But he's also just starting, so I'm going to cut the guy a break. What we got here? Hello, we got somebody new here. Lane is watching on the Facebook. Hello, Lane. What's up? Stay in your lane. There you go. Jellyfish Hunter. How's it going? Rumbly Roo, Dookie Bear. Hiya, Rob. Hi, guys. Hello, GJ Gear. Sup? What's up with that? How you doing? Enjoying this. Genie on thee. I don't know. What are you on? Genie, what are you on? It just says Genie on thee. Good to see you there as well. Let's see. YouTubers. What's going on with YouTubage? Jamie Billette, Habalone. All of you guys. Gary McGovern. Isn't it nice to see the stream working? My God. It is like wow. It really is just revolutionized what we're doing here. And I have a funny feeling the sky is the limit on the number of people streaming, the reach, a lot of reach, reaching a lot of people. All right, time for me to talk. Where's Chris Cuomo. Yeah, this is unbelievable. Chris Cuomo's not a very smart person. Man, he's straight off into Stupidville here in a second, but I'll show you. He had something smart to say, and then he went off into Stupidville. All right. Here we go.
About 4 minutes here.
Mr. President, get rid of what and who does not serve you or us. How did a guy like Joe Kent get to be your top counterterror official? How did your top counterterror guy think there was no real threat from Iran and say nothing until now?
Yeah, there you go. That's Chris Cuomo, and I'm honest, when Chris Cuomo gets something, I mean, it's very obvious because he's not the brightest bulb in the world. He's usually wrong about everything. And by the way, he's straight into Stupidville on this comment. So he started off really strong, and then he's straight into Stupidville.
How does he believe that you didn't want to strike? Either he had no conscience or no competence.
There you go. Hasn't straight off yet, but it's coming.
Either way, no good.
Okay.
And these two positions are his most benign.
Okay. All right. What are the other positions that are not? This is Stupidville.
Okay. He's got ties to ultra-right-wing extremists like the Proud Boys.
Okay, no, there aren't any Proud Boys, really, honestly. It's just all contingent, and honestly, you always made a big deal out of it, but you never say anything about Antifa.
He's got a Panzer tattoo. That's the German tank. He believes in the...
I didn't know nothing about that.
Great replacement theory.
Well, that's actually happening, to be
left wants illegal immigrants to replace white voters.
Well, that's not necessarily white voters, but legal citizens altogether. He's right about that.
He believes the 2020 election was stolen.
Well, yeah, so do I, and the reason being is because of all the evidence and stuff. So there's that.
He believes the FBI instigated January 6th.
No, they infiltrated it, though. They had lots of agents in the January the 6th crowd, so that's all coming out, too. And then, of course, the January 6th committee destroyed all the evidence and stuff. There, Chris.
6th again. That would all make perfect sense if it was some MAGA man podcaster.
MAGA man podcaster. No, actually, it's just somebody who knows the truth. You were wrong about vaccines and all that crap. That's why you have working at a smaller network, much smaller than Newsmax. Here is Dan Bongino talking about the list of evidence that showed Iran was a threat to us.
You know, we had Erbil, Beirut, the Khobar Towers, EFPs,
that's true.
explosively formed penetrators in the Iraqi battlefield.
Got to watch those foreign penetrators. I'm thinking the Ayatollah is very concerned about that right now.
We've had drone attacks. We've had threats of drone attacks. We've had decades of hostage taking in the Strait. We've had decades of actual hostage taking in our own embassy.
Killed a lot of our soldiers.
You had Cafe Milano. You've had lethal plotting. Asif Merchant, the federal case, and the Pakistani at the IRGC's beholding in the assassination case. What more evidence could you possibly?
You couldn't ask for anymore. Joe Kent is smoking the same weed that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens smoking, by the way. That's really what, I mean, honestly, there's no other. It's got to be legalized weed. I have no idea what the hell's going on, to be honest. Real quick, I want to mention this morning I slept until the sunrise. I posted it on Facebook, the picture of the window with the sun coming. I slept till 7 o'clock today. I never did that. I used to consider, literally just a month and a half ago, I said sleep is a bother, sleep is a pain. I don't even like to sleep. And now I can't wait to get in my ghost bed. And if you don't believe me, check out my social media. I put up a video of me unboxing the ghost bed and put it out. I have never slept this good in my life. I swear to God in heaven. Ghostbed.com/Newsmax if you want to take advantage of great savings and another 10%. Ghostbed.com/Newsmax. Seriously, just look at ghostbed.com. I'm not saying this just to say it. I'm saying it because it's real. I can't believe it. Ghostbed.com/Newsmax. Hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. I wouldn't go anywhere.
now.
And I have Michael in Chicago about Kent.
Oh, okay.
Thought-provoking and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3 of the show. Fred Fleitz is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. He's always awesome. America's First Policy Institute, and he just knows foreign policy. He just does. He knows his stuff. So we will talk to him about what's going on over there with Operation Epic Fury. We're kicking butt and taking names is what it is, and most of those names are Mohammed, which is kind of nice. We were talking earlier about Joe Kent, and I don't know what it is really. I know what it's like to be, and you can say MAGA, whatever. I am a big believer in America. I'm a patriotic American, and Donald Trump just happened to be. And I wasn't a Donald Trump supporter in 2016, guys. I went and saw Rubio and Ted Cruz speak. I just thought Donald Trump was a playboy. He had a couple TV shows and all of this, and I didn't think twice about it. And then I noticed as all the other candidates started to fall, then I kind of realized this, and then. When he went into office, and I voted for him, I said, whoa, here's a guy who's doing what we asked him to do. What? Really? What? Because honestly, what has either party done for you in the last 50 years? What? I mean, honestly, they spend money, as my dad used to say, like it's going out of style. They spend trillions of dollars. Nothing's fixed. Joe Biden is the perfect example of why D.C. was broken. He stole an election. You can't say that. Yeah, I just did. But he went to Washington, D.C., and he spent his entire life doing nothing but making himself and his not his constituents, but his cronies filthy, rotten, rich, and did nothing. All of the things that were broken in 1972, still broken now. The VA, Social Security, still broke. The schools, even worse. 40 years after the DOE created, money just made union members and their cronies rich while money went back to the Democrat Party. None of it. Why have we wasted tens of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on not fixing a damned thing? Infrastructure, broken. Everything, broken. Donald Trump came in, gutting at least 10% of the federal workforce. Should be 50%, by the way. Should be like what Elon Musk did with Twitter. 80%. Because honestly, I remember when I lived in Washington, D.C., I never lived in a city where the streets, the sidewalks were paved with granite. Really? Who lives like that? Why do we need granite sidewalks and curbs in buildings that, like the new Treasury building, $2 billion, as much as an NFL stadium? Honestly, there's no better metaphor for the awfulness of the federal government, how corrupt it got, than Joe friggin' Biden. And Donald Trump changed everything. He changed everything. And this is why the deep state went after him in every way, shape, and form, tried to put him in jail, tried to take away his fortune, tried to take him off the ballot, tried to impeach him twice, raided Mar-a-Lago, and then tried to murder him twice. So, there's no leaving a MAGA for me. It's not going to happen. We got a guy in the White House who they shot him in the damn head. He turned his head and it missed blowing his head off on live television by millimeters. And you know what he did? He didn't go, oh, crap. You know what? I'm going to drop out of the race. He said, fight, fight, fight. We've never seen that in world history. Do you not understand that? And the day after that happened, we had the Letter Network saying, well, he wouldn't have gotten shot if he didn't use such divisive language. Shut up. So I don't understand why people like Tucker Carlson would do that, or Joe Kent would just suddenly abandon the war effort, most successful, overwhelming show of force in the history of the world. 2 weeks in, as I mentioned, this would be like Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly on December the 21st, 1941 going, yeah, it's already over. It is already over. The Japs are kicking our asses. I mean, it's over. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you people? I think it's legalized weed. I swear to God. Is that those pouches that Tucker does? Those nicotine pouches? Do you suppose they got some THC in them? Because honestly, otherwise it doesn't make any bloody sense at all. Here is Dan Bongino. He's a real patriot by the way. He's also an American badass. Talking about Joe Kent.
Yeah, the sacrifice is beyond reproach. That doesn't mean
talking about Joe Kent sacrificing his life, losing his wife, and his military service and all that.
That this current opinion is any more fact-based, because it's not. I'm really sorry, Laura. I mean, I read probably a lot more intelligence than he did, because they don't have a law enforcement function, the National Counterterrorism Center. They're an analytical clearinghouse. Yeah. They're valuable. However, I had access to just about everything. And how you could come to the conclusion that the Israelis did it and there was no imminent threat here? Really? What about the anti-ship ballistic missiles, the drone program? 440 kilograms of 60% enriched nuclear.
Don't forget the 50,000 acts of terror since 1979.
Material, their constant death to America chants. I mean,
that's a threat to America right there.
That's called evidence. In some limited circles, we call that, a clue.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know at what point you thought this wasn't an imminent threat after you've read a lot of the stuff I read. And by the way, that's just the open source stuff we can talk about on the air. I promise you, the president, has a bevy of material that if he could do the Men in Black thing and erase your mind tomorrow, if he told you right now.
It's already been done for Democrats.
You would come to the imminent threat conclusion in a snap.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Mike in Chicago wants to talk. Mike, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. What's on your mind?
Good riddance to Joe Kent. That guy was an Israel hater and a flaming anti-Semite. But then there's Paul Ingrassia, Ed Martin, Darren Beatty, and Kingsley Wilson in the government. They're total anti-Semites, too. Why does Trump love anti-Semites so much?
Well, that's an interesting point. I guess because we didn't realize they were really there. I just saw a statistic the other day. I think in Democrats, only 12% of Democrats support Israel. And that, to me, kind of reminds me of 1939 Germany, doesn't it? When your party gets taken over by socialists and they end up blaming the Jews for their problems. Didn't that happen before there, Mike? I think that happened before.
Am I still on mute?
No, you're not on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah. One didn't have to be Sherlock Holmes to know these people were anti-Semites.
I know.
Trump just likes anti-Semites.
Oh, really? Does he like? No, really? Does he like anti-Semites? Mike, don't say that, brother.
Remember when he had dinner with Nick Fuentes?
Sure, he knows that Nick Fuentes invited him to dinner because he's an anti-Semite. There is no bigger defender of Israel in the history of the United States than Donald Trump. Come on, man.
And why does he keep these anti-Semites and white supremacists around?
Okay, bye, Mike. Nice call, though, Mike. Nice plant, though. You kind of lured me in there, like some sort of Trump supporter, and then you brought up this stupid. You went into the road to Stupidville, like Chris Cuomo. Usually, I just go Baba Booey, and we hang up on people like you. But I decided to keep you on there for a second because I wanted to massage it a little bit, and then I discovered that you were just a kind of a moron who just called up to speak in bumper stickers and act like Donald Trump is an anti-Semite. That's why I just said goodbye to you, because honestly, my audience doesn't have time for your stupid. We have a lot of IQ points. Maybe a lot of people on your side don't have the IQ points, but it's nice that you kind of weasel your way in and you can get on the air and you can, hey, I'm gonna convince Rob Carson that I'm one of them MAGA guys, man. Yeah, because those MAGA guys are knuckle draggers and they won't understand it. But you see, here's the problem, Mike. I'm a whole lot smarter than you. That's just the fact. I'm a whole lot smarter than you. I noticed you're Mike from Chicago. We don't have an affiliate in Chicago. So that was the first thing. Why would Mike from Chicago be calling in there and then out of the blue? And then when you first started your conversation, I was like, okay, that's a little suspect. Then you said, why does Donald Trump like anti-Semites? Then I realized, nice try, Mike. Nice try, Mike. You're a complete moron. So there you go. That's why I said goodbye to Mike. But it was a real nice try there, Mike. Real nice try. Try it with a less intelligent host. Maybe you should call Candace Owens. She would embrace the hell out of you. She might even, I don't even know what she'd do to you, but she might even fly to Chicago and buy you dinner, for God's sake. Who the hell knows? You probably have something vegan or something in Chicago. I don't even know what the hell you eat. Mike, you probably got a cat. I'll bet you Mike has a cat. I'll bet you Mike has a couple cats. I'll bet you Mike hates deep dish pizza and the blues. That's how bad Mike is living in Chicago. I bet he probably works in a cubicle and has a picture of a sailboat and his cat in it. That's what I kind of think. I could be wrong, but no, I think I'm probably right. I hope Mike is still listening. I really do, because that's called Taking You to the Woodshed. Here is Harry Inton. He's on CNN. And for those of you who don't believe that Americans and maggots are behind the war effort, or I should say the military action effort, listen to this.
Okay, MAGA GOP on the U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. Nearly 9 in 10, 89% approve of the U.S. military action in Iran. That is the MAGA GOP base. Just 9% disapprove of it. This is tremendously popular.
Yeah, it's tremendously popular, but you know, it's really weird because people like Mike in Chicago and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's smoking some of that same weed that Candace Owens and Mike in Chicago and Tucker Carlson's smoking. Here's old MTG, who's no longer relevant to the Republican Party because she left the Republican Party, spewing the same nonsense.
This is absolutely absurd, and it's 100% a betrayal to what MAGA was supposed to be when we voted in 2020.
No, because see, 90% of us are still behind this.
And it's turned into some perverted, deranged version of MAGA.
No, not at all. We're still 90% behind it. You're just marching in the wrong direction.
Now that nobody wants. And
90, go ahead, say it again. 90% of us do.
And a lot of people are just like, this doesn't make sense. And
she works out a lot. She must have dropped a weight on her head or something.
Further, Pamela, we love our military, and God bless the men and women serving, and we love
that bone.
Of their families, and we do not want to see flag-draped coffins coming home in a war.
We are 2 weeks into this, you moron. We are 2 weeks into this wildly successful I need to get to the base of what did they get paid? Did Marjorie Taylor Greene get paid? Did Tucker Carlson get paid? Did Candace Owens get paid? Did Megyn Kelly get paid? Because they're ruining their reputations. What's going on?
That does nothing for our own homeland. And then I want to ask.
Honestly, why do 90% of us get it, while that person and these other idiots don't? It's the same way with why do 90% of us want voter ID, and only 10% or less than that in Washington D.C. Don't want it. There's got to be a connection there. There's got to be a connection. I don't think it's just weed. I think there's something else going on. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Here we go.
Commentary that cuts through the noise. It's my job to arm you with common sense and shape the national conversation. Don't miss the Scott Jennings Show weeknights at 9. Talk Radio 680 WCBM and 99.9 FM in Harford County.
Have a rejoin.
Dig it.
Fasten your seatbelt, Deep State. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Trump wants to remove the most radicalizing government in the world. And our allies, of course, would prefer it if we could just handle this on our own. Trump says it'll be a bad future for NATO if they don't help get this straight open along his side. And resurfacing over the weekend, evidence that Trump's position on Iran has been steady for decades.
Well, I thought that Donald Trump was making this decision because Israel was forcing its hand there, Rob Schmidt of Newsmax.
All the way back to 1988.
I thought it was just Benjamin Netanyahu or something. That's what Mike from Chicago said.
40 years ago, Trump saying, I'd be harsh on Iran. They've been beating us psychologically, making us look like a bunch of fools.
Wow.
One bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Karg Island.
What?
I'd go in and take it. Iran can't even...
I don't know about you, but I just found out about Karg Island about a month ago, and Donald Trump knew about it in 1988.
...beat Iraq. If they push the United States around, it'd be good for the world to take them on.
Well, that is crazy because that's not what Mike in Chicago and, Tucker Carlson and Joe Kent, none of those guys, they're not. That's weird. That's just kind of weird. I don't know. Somebody's getting paid. I don't know. Something's going on, man. Something's kind of weird. Something's kind of weird. Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He's just a complete tool. I mean, like Neville Chamberlain, even feminized even more. I mean, it's just like, what? Like Neville Chamberlain, I don't even know. I don't even riding side saddle on a bike. He's just beyond. He's a complete moron. But anyway, apparently Keir Starmer, like most liberal elites in the EU and NATO and all that, they decide they want to help out the United States when it makes it look good for them without putting anything at risk.
Keir was willing to send 2 aircraft carriers after we won, because essentially there's no threat for the aircraft carriers right now.
Thanks, we kind of already destroyed them and everything.
And I said, no, we want.
What, your crews just want to cruise or something? Just want to hang out on lawn chairs on the deck?
Sent before the war, not after the war is won. So I'm disappointed with Keir. You see that man right there? You know who that is? Churchill. Winston Churchill. The late, great Winston Churchill. Unfortunately, Keir is not Winston Churchill.
Yeah. Keir is definitely not Winston Churchill. I mean, not even close. Not even close. Here is Donald Trump talking about how NATO, because this is what they do. They screwed us over. They bent us over a barrel and took advantage of us for decades and didn't spend any of their money on their own defense. And we took care of everything. We saved their asses a couple times last century. I don't remember that. There was these 2 wars. There was World War I, and then the second one, what the hell was that? Was called World War II. Yeah, we beat the Germans and the Axis powers and all that to hell to save their butts. But these are liberal leftist elites, and they are too stupid to know otherwise and to be grateful for what we did. Here is Donald Trump talking about NATO leaving us hanging.
I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it."
Sure. Yeah.
I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there.
They're just like your fake friends, right? You ever have those fake friends? You just know they're fake. Maybe they like you because of your money. Maybe they like you because of whatever, and then all of a sudden they just decide you're not, when they're no longer useful. That's exactly what NATO is like, by the way. Here's Jim Gossett singing about Keir Starmer as the Prezi.
Keir Starmer's not a friend, a hand he will not lend. Won't help out in a rent. Keir Starmer's not our friend.
Yeah, fair weather.
To Muslims he will bow, panders to them and how. Ignores his real allies, they should replace him now. I asked for a ship or 2.
Yeah.
Look at all we do for our friends in Britain. Keir Starmer, you are through. Kier will soon regret he's made a risky bet. Refusing the USA is his dumbest move yet.
Yeah, there you
Miss Maloney stiffed us too. Yeah. Georgia, I'm mad at you. Mm-hmm. Macron's another wimp. What's up with the EU?
All that Donald Trump would have to do is say, "Here, China. Here, China. You can
Good
have
riddance," we will say to Starmer and his crew.
Yeah, here, China. Go after him, man. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. But you know what happens? We'll end up bailing their rear ends out because you're just a bunch of elites, bunch of globalists, bunch of, that's the way they are. Over in Europe, they raise their pinkies when they drink cappuccino and, they wear berets and smoke cigarettes. Whistle at girls on the street corner, even they're probably not that into girls. That said, let's talk about here. MSN, here's a headline from gold price rally over the last year has ushered in one of the most dramatic shifts we've seen with the precious metals market in recent years, driven by a mix of inflation pressures, geopolitical tensions, strong institutional demand. Gold prices ticked up through 2025, pushing the precious metal far beyond levels that analysts expected a year ago. Case in point, gold hovered around $2,600 an ounce early 2025. By the year end, $4,300, then $5,600. Okay, so that is like $2,500 an ounce. And it's still hovering at $5,000 an ounce. It hasn't gone back to $2,600, not even close. So what does that tell you? It says that it had a meteoric rise, and now it's giving you a pause and giving you an opportunity to invest in it. So maybe time you texted my name, Rob, to Birch Gold. How about that? Yeah. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. It's very easy to do. You could do it today. You could do it during the commercial break here in a second. Get the ball rolling. They will text you back, and then they'll send you some information, no obligation. And then when you decide you want to talk to somebody, they'll talk to you, and then they'll get your IRA or 401k, director of that on phone with a representative from Birch Gold. They'll talk to each other, exchange emails and all that, and then all you got to do is sit back and let it happen. Then it's done. It's real simple. It's very simple. And right now, gold is giving you an opportunity to buy. So text my name, Rob, to 989898. Will ya? For Birch Gold, I wish you would. You should. All right. Coming up, former NSC Chief of Staff of the Trump administration, senior fellow at the American First Policy Institute, the one and only Fred Fleitz. On the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed. My name, Rob. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution.
We're in the second week of the so-called Iran war. That's a very surreal war. I don't think any of us have seen anything like it. It's only been 2 weeks and we're told that it's dragging on, that it's a forever war, that we're losing, that the Pentagon and the Trump administration had no plans. And yet when you look at Iran, this huge country, much bigger, much more populous than Iraq or Afghanistan, and it has no military left. And yet people say that it's unconquerable. It doesn't make any sense. Its output of missiles and drones at the Gulf petro states and Israel has dropped by 90%. So what's going on? What is actually happening is not being reported, and there's an alternate reality that's been constructed by the left that sees this war as politically advantageous to its agenda to recapture power in the United States. If it convinces us, the American people, that A, we're losing, B, we may deserve to lose, C, it's all Donald Trump's fault, and this war will be beneficial in denying him the Republican majorities in Congress in about 8 months.
Yeah, 100%. It's really bad. I remember when Dick Durbin, like weeks into the Operation Iraqi Freedom or whatever it was, said that we had already lost. And that's when Rush Limbaugh called him Dick Turbin. It is remarkable. And now, you know, this doesn't explain why Joe Kent did what he did 2 weeks in. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I can get some clarity from Fred Fleitz. He's usually pretty good at these things. Fred Fleitz, NSC Chief of Staff during the Trump administration, former CIA analyst, senior fellow, American First Institute. Fred, welcome to the show. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Well, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I'll bet you have. So 2 weeks into one of the most successful military campaigns in world history, and Joe Kent says that he didn't think that Iran was a threat. You've got all sorts of, the Democrats hated it since day one. They said day one, right after we vaporized the Ayatollah, which should have caused mass celebrations. They called the operation a disaster. What the hell, Fred?
I'm so disappointed in Joe Kent. Look, he's a decorated veteran, and I don't like to criticize him for that reason.
Yeah.
And I know his wife was tragically killed,
Yes.
I think, in warfare. So, I don't like criticizing him, but what he did was outrageous. He's publicly said and tweeted strong support for taking out Iran's nuclear missile programs. And Marco Rubio was very clear that Iran was amassing what would have been a missile shield that we would not have been able to penetrate by the end of the year if we didn't attack now. And it was going to use that shield to protect its pursuit of nuclear weapons. He's just dead wrong. The intelligence isn't there. We heard that today in testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee. But look, what's most worse, all this, I can deal with all this, but the fact is he claimed that Donald Trump was dragged into this by the Israeli lobby and by Israel Netanyahu, that is, the Jews. I am outraged. I'm outraged. I don't want people on our side saying things like that. I don't want anyone in this country talking that way. And if his arguments are so weak, he has to stoop that low. I feel sorry for him.
Fred, we weren't alive at the time, but I believe there were a group of socialists who went into power and blamed a lot of their problems on the Jews. I think it happened in Germany or something. Right now, the Democrat Party in this country, which is lurched leftward, which has never said anything about all of the anti-Semitic protests that were AstroTurf protests October the 7th. Right after October the 7th, only 12% of Democrats now are supporting Israel. This sounds like history repeating itself to me, brother. And I got to tell you, the people who are falling for this have got to recognize what the hell is going on, Fred.
Well, look, in every movement, there's kooks. And we know Tucker Carlson's a kook. And this guy, I'm afraid, is a kook, too. And Tucker's been saying similar things. The president is not happy with him. And I like to see these people come back into the fold, to renounce views like this, to stop the cheap shots at Israel, Jewish American supporters of Israel. That's not what the America First movement is about. This is the most pro-Israel president in history. That's what Netanyahu said. This is a man who has a Jewish daughter and Jewish grandchildren. He's strongly pro-Israel. He's strongly against anti-Semitism. That's the right thing to be. That's the moral way we have to focus this movement. And this nonsense, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic nonsense being advanced by people like this, fortunately they're on the fringe.
Yes.
But it's ammunition that the mainstream media is using to attack us. It has to stop.
Fred, I was watching Rob Schmidt last night, and Newsmax has been covering this quite well. Donald Trump has been talking since 1988 as an outsider in politics about how we need to focus on Iran as a threat. He mentioned Karg Island, among other things, in 1988, 38 years ago. He was talking about this. So as far as Donald Trump reacting to the healing at the side of Benjamin Netanyahu, ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. And this is the creeping anti-Semitism. There is blatant anti-Semitism on the left, but there's creeping anti-Semitism on the right. I'm trying to understand why Tucker Carlson is this way, though, and I think part of it is he's a coastal elite, a spoiled child. And when push comes to shove, I think he goes off the rails of common sense when things like this happen. I could be wrong. What do you think?
I don't think Carlson's a deeply anti-Semitic man. I think he's just a frivolous person.
There you go.
He hasn't thought through the things he said before he opens his mouth. I think the anti-Semitism on the left is much more serious and deep. It goes way, way back. These are the real haters. I like to think, Tucker Carlson has said very positive things about Israel and the Jewish people in the past. So if he's fallen into a rut, he doesn't know what he's doing, I want him to come back because I think he's a brilliant guy. The same thing for Ken. But there's people on the left, they are a different level of hatred, of animosity towards people who should be our brothers and sisters who have a history that we understand and we don't want to see repeated.
I got to tell you, Fred, I've been noticing that some in the media are beginning to recognize, and I think change course because they recognize the writing on the wall that we are just keel-hauling Iran. And they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. They are going to be on the wrong side of history, Fred. They are going to be on the wrong. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Israel is going to work on regime change. We've just annihilated this country. They just destroyed their military, their leadership. They are grasping at straws. So you better get on the right side of history here, Fred, because history's coming in the next couple of weeks. What do you think?
I am seeing liberal reporters saying just today, maybe the Iranian people will take back their country. They noticed what happened yesterday. There were outdoor celebrations for an Iranian holiday, which turned into demonstrations.
Yep.
And there were efforts to suppress these people, but the people protested anyway. I think this is the beginning of a long-term effort to oust this evil government. And we know it's been so weakened. The security infrastructure has been greatly weakened. They've lost all the leaders. I don't know who's really running this country.
No.
So when we hear the mainstream media saying, well, the regime is still in charge, I'm not sure that's exactly right. I think there's something running the country, but it's really shattered.
Yeah, they're not. They're lashing. They don't have any ability to launch any comprehensive or even logical strikes against its military targets. They're just throwing them out. I don't know. It's like you ever seen the old timey computer when brain gets overloaded and its sparks are coming out of its head? That's what it reminds me of. But I want to talk about Cuba on the other side of the break. If you would hang on, Fred Flights, I'd appreciate that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Tell your friends, family, and coworkers to turn on Talk Radio 680 WCBM and 99.9 FM in Harford County.
Let's take a look here. Okay, own party approval of Secretary of State about at this point in the presidency. Look at this. Marco Rubio at 81% among Republicans at this point, significantly higher than Tony Blinken was, of course, who was Joe Biden's Secretary of State at this point in the Joe Biden presidency. He was only at 73%. So I think Donald Trump is also looking at these numbers, seeing, hey, this is a popular guy amongst the Republican base, and the actions he's overseeing are also quite popular. Maybe he's someone I might want to get behind for 2028.
I got to tell you, Marco Rubio, just blew me away because I remember seeing Marco Rubio in 2016 when he was campaigning for president. And you want to know what I noticed about Marco Rubio, Fred Fleitz? You want to know what I noticed about Marco Rubio when I saw him speak in 2016?
What's that?
His shoes. I stood right behind him on stage, and he was wearing cheap shoes and a cheap suit. And I said, that's a man of the people. Wasn't slick, wasn't Gavin Newsom. He was wearing some crappy shoes. Man, looked like he had them forever. And I was like, God dang, this guy, he's in it for the people. And that's what I noticed about Marco Rubio. And I've always admired Marco Rubio. But, man, he just seems to have crystallized as a person, as a leader, as a Secretary of State. What do you think, man?
Rob, I regret I just got a minute because I'm going on BBC Persian.
Okay. Listen, why don't you...
Let me tell you, I love Rubio, and I'll say something about Cuba.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing how all international events seem to be related? Venezuela, Cuba, Ukraine, a strong American president, a Cuban-American Secretary of State.
Boom.
A shortage of oil for Cuba. The stars may have been aligned for the only opportunity in our lifetime.
That's where I was saying.
Now this communist government in Cuba.
Yes, sir. All right. I know you got to run. Fred, thanks for talking to me, bro. Fred Fleitz on Twitter. Appreciate you. Have a glorious day, and good luck on BBC Persia. All right?
Thanks much. Take care.
Not at all. I understand, when BBC Persia calls. I guess you answer. I have no idea what the hell BBC Persia is. But anyway, whatever. As I was going to say, Rubio. Do you see Rubio just move in, start talking about Cuba? There are stars aligning. There are stars aligning in Cuba. Oh, my goodness, will it be a glorious day? I've already talked to Mike Carter. He's a reporter at Newsmax. He's a Capitol Hill chief correspondent, right? I've gotten to know him. He's become a friend of mine. And he's kind of a brother from another mother. He's like 20 years younger, but we hang out, and all of that. And I said, brother, when Cuba's free, you and I and some guests need to go down to Cuba. We got to get some fine Cuban cigars and enjoy the island because it's going to be an amazing place. It's going to be an amazing place. I was going to mention this today. I don't know if it's apropos right now, but I did promote it, so I might as well mention it. My friend Grant Stinchfield, he has a national show, and he's a really good guy, and he spoke to this woman, Erin Lee, and she's involved in a lawsuit. Lee versus Poudre County School District. Two families are suing their school district for alleging their daughters were groomed into an LGBTQ cult through secretive gender and sexual alliance meetings, GSA meetings, gender and sexual alliance. This is pedophile grooming. You can't say that. Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah. You always hear the cliche about pedophiles luring children in with candy to talk about sex, talk about polyamory and maybe gender transition and your naughty parts and all of that. What do you suppose at this Poudre school district, what do you suppose the club was called? Would you believe Skittles? Yeah, Skittles candy.
Yeah, it's been almost 5 years now that my daughter had just turned 12 and was lured into this secret gender and sexuality club disguised as an art club where an outside organization called Skittles told her if you're not comfortable in your body, that means you're transgender.
Let's call it Skittles. Are you out of your bloody minds?
And if you don't know who you're attracted to, that means you're queer. And they glitter bombed her with toys and celebration.
This is what pedophiles do.
Taught her explicit concepts like polyamory and told her over and over, do not tell your parents about this meeting. So repeatedly emphasize your parents.
This is what pedophiles do.
Parents might not be safe. You don't have to tell them. And when she came home and told us, we were vilified. So the school district actually sent in a mandated reporter for a well child check on our family because we weren't instantly affirming of her trans identity that they put on her in this secret meeting we weren't even supposed to know about.
I've been involved in preventing child abuse my entire broadcast career. I have worked with countless organizations on preventing child abuse, sexual child abuse, physical child abuse. I was abused as a child. Many, many years of my childhood spent suffering all kinds of abuse. This is so sick. The people who perpetrated this need a public flogging. Here's a little more from Aaron Lee.
Yeah, and our daughter wasn't showing signs. She was just a normal girl in the midst of COVID, starting puberty. Of course, she was uncomfortable.
They used COVID.
In her 12-year-old body.
They shut down their schools. They said if you're not happy, maybe it's because you need to be a boy. What the hell?
And they just completely took advantage of her vulnerability. And so we did. When we went public, there were so many other families that came forward that there are multiple families on our lawsuit that Pam Bondi took, went all the way to the Supreme Court. They didn't take it up, but I want to believe that we put a crack in the dam for the families behind us.
Yeah, and they overwhelmed people with propaganda, and they used social contagion and mania to convince people that they were the rule and not the exception.
It's almost like it's the rule, not the exception, that parents are left in the dark, our kids are being sexualized, and if they show any signs of being uncomfortable in their body, then they're automatically labeled as transgender, and we're left out of the equation. So we have not had justice for our school district.
And what happens to dads in the equation? Because you see, white liberal Karens fell for this stuff. Hollywood Karens, they fell for it. My children are transgender. It was Munchausen by proxy. My daughter wants to become a boy. My boy wants to become a daughter. Look at me. Where did it leave Dad?
And these are our fundamental rights. I'm glad they addressed it that way. Yes, they're constitutionally protected. I believe our founding fathers are rolling in their grave at the thought that this would even need to be explicitly written into the Constitution that parents parent their children, not the government. But that's what's happening on so many levels, that parents are being left in the dark. Government thinks they know what's best for our kids. And if we're not willing to go along with it, we're the enemy. In fact, there are over a dozen families here in Colorado, mostly dads, who have lost custody of their kids for not being willing to go by the transgender identity, who either lost full or partial custody of their children because they're not willing to do what the government has done in secret with their kids. So I know it's happening everywhere, and it's happened in red and blue states alike.
This is monstrous. The people who did this are going to have to pay for it dearly. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson from Birch Gold. Think about I'm talking about public beatings. I mean it. Beatings, shaming. I swear to God in heaven. You sick sons of bees. You sick sons of bees who perpetrated. I have friends whose daughter went through all this nonsense and was on ready to do a mastectomy, and for no good reason. And finally one day, she asked her dad, I can't become a boy, right? He goes, no, of course not, honey. Now she's still gone. She's still angry, crazy, lost to some degree. And a lot of that has to do with her age. But what a monstrous thing to put the family through. My God, I mean, so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Look who's watching America Marcy over on YouTube. Somebody commented about my hair earlier. Well, thank you. Thank you. Who was it? Oh, Nancy. Hey, Nancy. Or no, Neats. Neats is the name. Neats says, man, your hair, nice hair, just saying. And I said, I'm happy with it. And she says, it's been great, but the waves are extra. I said, it's product. She said, what product? I'll be honest. I use a couple of things. I use this stuff they sell at the salon. It's a shampoo. And then Rogaine foam. And the reason why I use Rogaine foam, Rogaine stops any hair loss back here, not here. But Rogaine foam is a really good mousse. It's a really good mousse. And if you're experiencing hair loss, and I'm not now, but it not only stop it here, but also it's a really good mousse. And I never use mousse, but it works really well. Rogaine, though, the real stuff, not the fake minoxidil. If you're just worried about hair loss, but Rogaine foam's better for styling and all that crap. And I got to be on TV every day, So whatever, here we go.
Yeah, 220.
All righty. Contrails are real. Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. CIA accused of poisoning the sky with toxins as files expose secret weather control agenda. It actually is happening. Alex Jones was right for a change. Environmental researcher for 20 years, claims that the conspiracy surrounding chemtrails was not only true, but has actually crippled the Earth's ability to naturally overcome the pollution caused by humans. It is a variety of chemicals, secret nozzles, tanks affixed to wings with aluminum, barium, manganese, graphene, and various polymers, dumping between 40 and 60 million tons of nanoparticles into the sky annually. It's real. Oh my God, it's real. Holy hell. Next, it's going to be Bigfoot. It's going to be Bigfoot next, my God in heaven. Here is Tucker Carlson guest before he went insane talking about this. And I heard this, and this is when it kind of changed my mind about contrails.
Ultimately, all roads lead to those who print the money. But we know as far as the coordinating entities, certainly DOD, DARPA, and we have documents to prove the existence of these programs going back decades, documents hundreds of pages long. We have an 800-page U.S. Senate document from 1978 outlining the scope and scale of these programs then, specifically calling for intergovernmental cooperation, even between, quote, otherwise adversarial nations, because of the cross-border ramifications of these programs. You can't just geoengineer over your own country. Who's the biggest player? Obviously, the United States of America, because of the size of our military. The U.S. military has 3 times more aerial tankers, which are the primary aircraft used in these operations, 3 times more than all other militaries in the world.
And the problem is a lot of those chemicals are toxic. So there's that. I'll have more on this tomorrow, and then a lot of time to talk about it today, and then we'll get into UFOs and Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster as well. But no, this is actually real. It is actually real. Geoengineering, changing the weather. It really works. I know. It's weird. We live in weird times, don't we? My God. Anyway, thank you for watching today. And listening, I should say listening, because it is a radio show. God bless America's founded Donald Trump, this great country, our military, ICE, you guys, of course. And until tomorrow, which is a Thursday, don't catch the stupid. I'll see you then. I love you guys.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.